Let me explain several items in this video. Firstly, the keyboard problems with climate change. Secondly, the advantages and disadvantages of membrane keyboards over VS mechanical keyboards. And thirdly, how I upgraded my membrane keyboards so that the keys don't slip. I've been using keyboards since 1976, and that is almost 45 years. The technology has improved phenomenally over those years. In the early days, they were stiff like typewriters. Today, they have become soft, gentle on the fingers, and have very fast response times. Unfortunately, there are still some major drawbacks as cost-cutting measures have become very severe compared to the new technologies involved in making keyboards. The worst of these cost-cutting measures are those that are affected by climate change. I have used many keyboards that cannot work properly at higher room temperatures. The most common problem I've seen is that when your room temperature rises above 32 degrees Celsius or 90 degrees Fahrenheit, the keys stop responding or the keys keep repeating themselves. It has been so bad that I have to correct every word in my Word document. An example of this is you can see it on the screen. The schoolwork brought home by my children is very difficult. It's absolutely nonsense because the keyboard is missing characters. Let me digress a bit as I want to bring to you the attention of some of the major problems I've had with keyboards. I had one very attractive, beautiful keyboard with lots of lights and flashing lights on the keys and all that. That cost me around 150 ringgit or US $35. It just failed after 2.5 months of work. When I took it back to the keyboard seller for warranty claim, the seller took it upon himself to fight with me. I think he was trying to avoid doing the warranty or trying to give me a refund or trying to replace the keyboard because he himself in his own heart knew they were absolute rubbish keyboards. That was when I told him, hey, I'm a YouTube creator, and I'm going to put a video out on YouTube to tell everyone not to come back to his shop to buy anything from him. And that was when he decided to take my keyboard and get it repaired and gave me a temporary keyboard to use to do my work. When I returned 2 weeks later to pick up the repaired keyboard, they told me that it could not be repaired and they gave me a new one. That is exactly what I told them. The cheap quality design sold at very high prices gives this problem. The components are not up to standard, but they think we are stupid and we will not complain that the keyboard is spoiled. So then they gave me a brand new keyboard, and that keyboard again lasted me only 2.5 months. And I took it back to the shop and said, look, the keyboard is spoiled again because it just cannot work at room temperature. Malaysian room temperatures without air conditioning is quite high, 32 degrees Celsius or 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Some days it goes up to 35 Celsius, which is almost like 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And the keyboards just fail. A lot of electronics components just fail at high temperature, high room temperature. So I decided, okay, when they started checking the keyboard and they found out that it's confirmed that it is spoiled, then they told me they will either replace it, they will try to replace it. And while they were searching for another keyboard for me to use, I told them, look, hey, this keyboard, after you repair it and it fails after 2.5 months, it'll be Chinese New Year. And then I will charge them 2,000 ringgit, which is 470 US dollars, for making me test out their keyboards for them. At that point, they decided, hey, better refund his money, right? So they returned my 150 ringgit. And I went to another shop and bought a Philips membrane keyboard. Mechanical keyboards are good for gamers because they will bang on the keys in quick succession. And mechanical keyboards have a very clear click sound. This is positive feedback as a gamer, so you don't have to take your eyes off the screen to see which key you are clicking on or whether you have clicked on the key or not. But mechanical keyboards, the travel distance of the key is much longer than membrane keyboards. So if you are used to touch typing, you can't use mechanical keyboards. That was the reason I bought the Philips membrane keyboard. I had been developing programs for over 40 years, and for the speed I have gotten into a habit of touch typing, which is good for my knuckles and joints. See, all of them are okay. A lot of people are suffering from severe pain in their joints after years of typing. I don't hammer my fingers on the keys. I just touch them to register the keys. Due to my touch typing, this meant that it had become very difficult for me to use mechanical keyboards. Unfortunately, I found another problem with this membrane keyboard, and many other keyboards have the same problem or similar problems. And that is the keys were so smooth that my finger would slip when I hit the key. And what that meant was I will hit the adjacent key and 2 characters will come out instead of 1. This is because my fingers are dry without any moisture, so it does become easy to slide along the top of the key and hit the adjacent keys. When your fingers slide over the keys, you end up keying in 2 characters. So for example, JU instead of J, or MJ instead of M. So instead of going out and buying another keyboard, I decided to fix my keyboard myself. I upgraded my keyboard so that its keys become a little stickier and thus preventing my fingers from sliding to the next key. How did I do this? I used surgical tape to cover the keys because surgical tape is slightly sticky. See, surgical tape, it's slightly sticky and it will not come off when wet. So this is the surgical tape. I cut strips of surgical tape and covered the keys with it. Then I trimmed off the tape and cut the tape into squares so that all the keys are separated. It's really wonderful. Now I don't have to have extra characters appearing on my keyboard and I can still do touch typing.